Good evening, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is David Okon. In the UK here, we are talking about money given to people who need it by the government of the United Kingdom. If you are in the United Kingdom or out of the United Kingdom, be careful to watch this material. Otherwise, go to the website of the government of the United Kingdom, gov.uk, to find out what policy, practices, and how it impact on society and how technology and all the other factors society are playing, interplaying to create a development, to create also a situation where capitalism is operating in the world to concentrate more wealth into the hands of the few and taking this wealth away from the hands of the many. I have said this over and again. Watch this video and the rest of the videos on the matter of money, financial support, and watch the rest of the video, share with family and friends. And click notification bell if you haven't done so. Click like and leave a comment. Let us have a conversation. And it is important to understand government policy wherever you are, and what happened in Britain also happens elsewhere around the world because of globalization. I will be repeating these points over because it is underlying what I discuss and what the rest of the people may know. It is your responsibility to have information and get the right knowledge about government and policy, and to learn about how life goes in society, and also learning the development alongside learning your culture, having respect for yourself and for other people. This is the basis of this conversation. I've been repeating it over, and I'm glad you came. Let us also continue watching. Stay tuned. Let us get into it. We are talking about universal credit. We are talking at an aspect of overpayment of money, when the government overpays money to somebody who is claiming the money, who is either in these circumstances watching this and also watching the rest of the video because they are connected. For it to make sense, otherwise go to gov.uk. You can visit also the public website of the Citizen Advice or Shelter, or the whole host of statutory and non-statutory bodies and their website. You can actually get advice from professionals within the local and also other areas or other sectors of the government, of the welfare and the policy infrastructure within the statutory and the non-statutory, otherwise known as the voluntary sector or the third sectoral, as in the non-profit. These organizations which are either registered with the Company House in the United Kingdom or with the Charity Commission. So let us look if the government has made a mistake, because sometimes the government making mistake, the Department of Work and Pension making a mistake, and also creating a situation which is problematic. I have actually repeatedly emphasized the major problem with the benefit system is the low pay, and also the low pay in terms of employment or on self-employment. There are individuals or groups who are doing self-employment in the United Kingdom. If they are not making sufficient profit, their income should be supplemented by the government giving them grant, or separately, or actually giving them the similar grant as we see in the benefit in terms of universal credit. This should be a policy aimed at getting small and medium business owners out of poverty as self-employed, but also as employees who work for living on the minimum national wages, national living wages, which money given in payments are extremely low, which I have actually emphasized for there to be a changing of policy to provide a lower level of pay. In my estimation, something like £30,000 in net per annum paid to people who are on national living or minimum wage on the one hand, on the other, an equivalent to provided through the support of the government, where the minimum for self-employed is in the small and medium sector of the economy, of the businesses, supporting them in grant to at least levelize their income within the range of 30,000 net, and this should be also have its equivalents within the benefit sector, where people get an equivalent of money of £30,000 per annum. In my opinion, and leave a comment below if you think differently. If you want to know, you can do your own research or your own consultation, or you can actually visit your MP or any source of information to determine what the government or ordinary people of the country would reasonably think the government to get the British out of people out of poverty by way of effective income management, which management in the first place is to raise the level of income within benefit, within employment or self-employment, but also investing in the sector of financing and of money, is, for example, the credit system, the debt economy, which is shadowy, which should be actually be subjected to reformation, to reform, to support households in the United Kingdom, and also what happened in the UK to be replicated across the globe. This is something I have said over and again. And therefore, debt management by and financial capability, infrastructure, and an application in the United Kingdom should support income management, which in effect should provide a semblance of income maximization, which in turn will effectively solve the problem of poverty. British people being got out of poverty. This should be done as soon as possible and also as quickly as possible, because Britain is the sixth richest country in the world, and there is so much wealth in the world, even within poor nations like Africa, because there are so many rich people, multimillionaires and millionaires in Africa, who should actually work with government to moderate capitalism, such as to get the entire people of the globe, the citizens of the world, out of poverty once and for all. Poverty is an anathema of society, is anathema in society. It is a sign of evil which is unnecessary, is actually it's a fingerprinting of violence, and there cannot be peace for the wicked. And poverty as an incident in a country like Britain, or also in any developed world or in Africa, is an evidence, is evidence of wickedness, and wicked people, wicked countries, wicked communities cannot have peace. We need peace in the world. We need to revisit our cultural economy, respecting ourselves, respecting other people, and also their spaces, respecting our environment, our world resources, consuming reasonably. And the rich people are now destroying wealth by owning excessive amount of wealth. It's a form of evil, is a form of excessiveness, is actually inhumane. A lot of people are dying of poverty-related problems in the hospital. People are failing to access healthcare, and there are incidents of toxicity of environment. The rivers are being contaminated by people who are greedy for money, for wealth, for power, big corporations around the world, and the list of evil is endless. But I speak here because of hope. And this material can represent a lot of depressive commentaries or even incidences, but this is the truth. There are and also backed by facts. These truths are actually backed up by the facts, and it is for you to find out as an individual, as family and communities and friends, and you have to take responsibility for your life. We are having technology on our doorsteps, and not far off. It's going to change our development and also impact on our progress as society. This is a good thing, except to say our culture should also develop in such a way as to accommodate incidences of our situation of peace, or we need to actually build an environment of where technology and wealth become a factor of peace building, peacemaking, and other than recognizing wealth and technology to destroy or even give opportunity for human extinction as a species. This I have said here, and I have said it elsewhere. I will continue to make this comment. To let us get into what we set out to do. Stay tuned. Continue watching. Thank you so much for your support. Share this video with family and friends. If you are new, subscribe to this channel. If you have already subscribed, thank you so much. Let us work together. We are a work in progress. And thank you so much, YouTube, for the opportunity. I know YouTube is changing in context, and also in terms of its infrastructuring, and nothing stays the same. So if you are a YouTuber or a user of the platform, make the best of it. You can abuse it as much as you can, but do your best to be as constructive as possible. Take opportunity of what is available, because nothing stays the same. More and more social media will be shutting down for the many. As always, only the few who have money will be accessing the space, and this is how our society is rigged in favor of the few ruling class, as opposed to the many. If you watch news now, there is a flurry of accusation from the government, from the ruling class against social media. People are accusing social media. That is a sign that it is going to be closed down for the many in the next 10, 20, or even 50 years. So while it lasts, let us not cry wolf. Let us take an opportunity and use it as much as we can. And the quality of our life, the love we have for ourselves and for others, is the fingerprinting, pointing to our cultural economy and also cultural credit. We like that. So let us come back to this material. So if you can ask the Department of Pension to waive the deduction, then you can do that. If it is their mistake that you are being overpaid, you don't have to show that you are experiencing hardship if all of the following apply. The overpayment happened because the Department of Work and Pension made a mistake. That wasn't your fault. For example, they didn't record your information correctly. And in other words, if the Department of Work and Pension made a mistake, they should not if they made a mistake of paying someone who is claiming benefit, they should not get this benefit back, because getting benefit back creates a major crisis in the first place. In the second, the law says if it is the government a mistake, which they do make from time to time, then they should not get the payment back. You can challenge this decision. Let us continue looking at the specifics, and you can ask the Department of Work and Pension to double check their benefit, your benefit entitlement, and the Department of Work and Pension told you it was correct. This is a situation where the Department of Work and Pension would have specifically made mistakes when you are as a claimant and ask the Department of Work and Pension to double check your benefit entitlement, and the Department of Work and Pension told you your benefit calculation was correct, and this policy is wrong, because you see, if you don't ask, these are actually corollaries. But even if you don't ask them, without more, if they make any mistake, then because you don't have to ask them, why would you ask them? I mean, it's not your responsibility; it's their responsibility. So if you replied on the, if you relied on the advice from the Department of Work and Pension and already spent money on essential items like food or clothing, it doesn't matter what they say. This is the law says, if you have spent the money on food or clothing, this policy is wrong, because if you have money, you can spend it on anything you want, even if it is not essential. It's your money. It's all right. So this kind of policy should be modified, should be corrected. It's wrong, because it's like to say if you spend it on luxury or something, you should pay it back. That is wrong, because it's your money. You're not a slave you can spend the money you like. This is a free country. I mean, the Department of Work and Pension should not turn into some horrible dictators, not even seen in Africa. They are like monsters who are very horrible. I'm gonna say they, I mean, the politicians who write these evil policies. So let us look at when your universal credit ends. The Department of Work and Pension should contact you, somebody claiming the benefit, to share how they want they want you to pay the money back. Now, in the situation where of overpayment, your universal credit ending, then the Department of Work and Pension can contact you to arrange paying the money back if it is an overpayment. I say generally, if an overpayment occurs, then the government should not take it back, because this is the money is too small, and if it doesn't matter how the overpayment occurs, because the Department of Work and Pension should take 100% responsibility to make sure they do not make mistakes, or their clients don't make mistakes. They should take administrative responsibility per se, because you see, these people are very vulnerable. They are not normal people. These are people who are at the bottom of the pile of poverty relations, and they should not. They are already being abused by society or injustice in terms of wealth allocation in a country like Britain and elsewhere, and the benefit system just kind of like turn into some kind of evil instrument of violence, of mercilessness, because these people are so in problem. And people, you see, there should be such a thing as a government of kindness, a government of compassion. The incident of benefit and debt policy is proof that the British government is one of the most evil entities the world has ever seen. Unfortunately, this is the kind of policy you find in Europe and America. You find it across the globe, which means modern governments are now being controlled by evil other than by good. And we need to stop and change this fundamental dimension. And I keep saying this. I try to avoid saying things like this, but I cannot help myself. So let us say also the Department of Work and Pension might ask you to pay them directly, for example, from your bank account. These are some details which, to me, to be understood. You can pay the money from wherever, take the money from the wages, and also the Department of Work and Pension might take the money from the wages if you work for a company with 10 or more employees, and this is the size of the firms. The Department of Work and Pension doesn't need to ask your permission. So these are the powers given by the government. It's an attitude of terrorism. The government acting like some Nazi terrorists on people who are already suffering, and this is a very, very evil policy. So if the Department of Work will take money from wages, then the Department of Work will work out how much you need to pay back, taking the money from your wages, and also what percentage the take will depend on how much you earn from your wages. And this is an exercise of futility which we should all condemn utterly. You should speak to your member of parliament and report this evil which the government is doing to its people. Britain is a big country. People should not be humiliated as if they are wild animals. So if you don't think you can afford to pay, you can ask the Department of Work and Pension to take less. We are not beggars. The people of Britain should not be treated as beggars. They are citizens of this country. They should be treated with dignity. This policy is proof that the UK government do not really regard the British people as humans. They are just tools used as treated even worse than slaves. So if you, for example, let us take a practical example. If you you earn up to 100 pounds per week, or up to 430 pounds a week, the working person won't usually take anything, and that is discretionary, is useless. I would say this is futility and it's waste of taxpayers' money. Such a policy should be scrapped. In the first instance, we'll be repeating this commentary alongside this formal information. So let us look at scenarios, how much you earn weekly, and how much how much you earn paid monthly, the amount taken from your wages. These are classifications. If you earn £100 to 160 or per week or per month, you earning 430 pounds, between 430 to 690, you are deducted 3%. If you're earning 160 to 220 per week or per month, 690 and 950, you are deducted 5%. If you're earning 220 to 270 per week and 950 or 1,160 per month, you are deducted by 7%. If you're earning 270 per week to 375 per week, or 1,160 to 1,615 per month, you are deducted 18%. So this is our formula, so to speak. So if you're earning over 520 or over 2,400, you get deducted by 20%. If the overpayment is because of fraud, sometimes the government find fraud, which fraud is actually a form of crime. If it is found to be fraudulent, then the part of working person can take more money from someone who is committed that offense, and on benefit. And if the overpayment is because of fraud means part of working person think you gave the wrong information on purpose. So the intention, the purposefulness is the key, and that would be something of indicating dishonesty, willful falsification of benefit. But the problem in the scheme of things is that you don't penalize, because poor people can be on drugs, they can be mentally ill, they can be anything. But this policy is so blanket, because we are dealing with poverty. We are not dealing with, we are not police. The state should not turn into police to try and police the citizen. So they can also take money from someone who earns £100 or less a week, 430 or less a month. You are treated once as a slave. I mean, multimillionaires and millionaires commit crimes and get away with it. I'm not saying people should commit crime and they should have excuses. Poverty is not a ticket to take. But rich people actually are more criminals than poor people, but they are treated like gods. And they don't even, nobody's going to take money from them unless they are found guilty in court. They have lawyers and things like that. They get away with murders. So that's my attitude here. And the part of work and pension won't usually agree to reduce the amount they take, and that is the stupidity about acquisition of fraud. These people are poor. Some of them are mentally sick, and these policies a blunt instrument which should be scrapped, whether somebody commits crime or not. Crime should be dealt with by the police. You don't use money. You are not stupid. You are clever. The government is supposed to be clever. If somebody has committed fraud, you take them to the police to investigate. You don't take their money. They have families. They have life lived. They need to pay their bills. The level of benefit should also go up. Whether it doesn't matter what policy looks like, the level of benefit should be enough to take the business people out of poverty, enough to pay rent, enough to pay council tax. And also energy, water, food, transport, to pay healthcare, because the government has shut down the public health system. It's no longer available. You go now to the hospital, you are not given any service because if you can't get an appointment with the doctor, then you are shut out because you are government. They're only accepting private patients, and these GPs are no longer taking clients. I mean, even if you are registered with them, you don't get appointment with the doctor. Simple as that. That means the government has now shut down the general practice, the family doctor system, the health and emergency, like the accessing of ambulance, and also maybe accessing bed is also shutting down because people are being sent home even if they are sick to the point of death because there is no bed in the hospital. These beds are private, provided by a private company who only purpose, they only respect patients who are private. If you are from the government, you are treated like a dog. Once a dog in the hospital, you are actually shouted at, you are told of for being sick. You know, as if why somebody is trying to question why you are sick. You shouldn't be sick because you are wasting money. These are private individuals. I don't know, because the government is also pushing for mercy killing. I don't know. I'm not really trying to go any further than what I'm saying, because see, sooner or later, doctors are going to start killing their patients because they are a burden to society. And this evil is now coming into the form of terrorism. And if we are not careful, we don't visit our culture to heal our society, we are going to turn into monsters, whether we are rich or poor. We're going to start killing each other like wild animals. Because I don't know where the violence is coming from, because this is happening. We are allowing people now we are strengthening the law to allow mercy killing, assisted suicide, which is totally wrong. The government shouldn't be involved. They should stick with the law that life is a sanctity. See, if you don't respect human life, then you behave like the current government in the UK. And this is actually the behavior of government across the globe. They are not humans. I mean, it's so difficult to even see that politicians are still humans. To see that a lot of people in the home are turning into animals. Because if we don't care about people, then we are not human. We don't even deserve any special place anywhere. We are worse than animals. And this is the position. That's what is happening. We have to start caring after people. We should be human. And this is the bottom line. And if your neighbor is referring to you or treating you as a stranger, it's because they are less human than you and than they are supposed to be, because they are turning into animals, or even worse than animals. Well, at least animals still, I don't know, but I've never been an animal anyway. So maybe if you have been an animal, leave a comment below. Let me know how you behave in the wilderness. This issue is wrong, and that's the bottom line. So let us look at the kind of money you're talking about. You're talking about 100 or less, and all the percentages. You talk about fraud, and leave a comment below and go to how much you pay per week, per month, and also what money is taken under a situation where you are accused of being a fraud with benefit. So if learning 100 pounds or less per week, you earning 430 or less per week, you are deducted if you gain overpayment by fraud by 5%. If you are 100 pounds or to 160 per week, or 430 to 690 per month, and you are deducted by 6%, or if you are 160 to 220 per week, and 690 to 950 per month, you are deducted by 10%. This is because you got benefit because of the fraud, and you are penalized even more. You are 220 pounds to 270 pounds per week, or 950 to 1,160 per month. You get 14% in deduction. So if you are 270 to 375 per week, or 1,160 per month to 1,650, you get 22% deduction. That is a lot of money being deducted. You are treated like if you are not human, because you are being accused of stealing a very small amount of money. It's like you are living in a concentration camp. You are not a citizen, because somehow maybe the Department of Work and Pension think you are a fraud, and they are treating you as if you are not even human. So if you get 375 pounds to 560 per week to 1,615 to 2,240, you are deducting 30% on your money, and if you are 520 to and over per week, or over or 2,240 or over per month, you're deducted 40%. Almost 50% of your money will be taken away, and that is no way for a government who is not on drugs to treat its citizens. This is no way to treat your citizens. It doesn't matter what they have done. If they have committed fraud, take them to the prison. You don't take their money. You're not you're not an alien. you're not some dangerous monster, calling itself a government. And that's the whole point. So I mean, if you in this situation, if you leave your job for some reason, if you're on benefit and you leave your job, and you must tell the Department of Work and Pension you have left, and who your employees, and if you have an employer, and this is called reporting a change of circumstance. This has to do with benefit overpayment. As a topic, watch this video and the rest of the video because they are connected for this video to make sense. Otherwise, you might struggle for it to make sense. Leave a comment below if you need more clarification. And thank you everyone who have been watching, who haven't been watching, one reason or another, because one way or the other, one day, I believe if you see this material, you will watch it. You may watch it, or you might enjoy it. You might value it one way or the other, or you might not enjoy it, or you might not value it. And thank you still, and be part of the family, and look after yourself, and also look after other people. Be a good person. Be a culturally astute individual in the United Kingdom or abroad, and it pays to be a good person. It doesn't pay to be a monster like we see features of monstrosity in our society. Let us also, while we look at this information, let's remind ourselves consistently of the value of our culture, because our culture produces respect for ourselves and others, and we become better citizens, we become more humane. And if we don't do our culture effectively, we can be in a situation where we turn into creatures worse than wild animals. Thank you so much, and continue watching. Stay tuned. Thank you so much. And if the Department of Work and Pension cannot get the money back in other way, they can take you to court for debt. And you can also check what you can do if you are being taken to court for debt. So all this policy is the product of state barbarism, and the state which has turned into a terrorist in a project, escape. And that is what you find with the kind of government which have gone astray, which has really lost its way. And this is not just happening in the United Kingdom, it's happening globally. So we are in red alert. It's no wonder there is a lot of violence. We as a human being, if we look at the policy of the government on poor people in this country and abroad, we are facing extermination, as in terms of extinction. As a species, we are facing extinction. If we don't become human again, sooner or later, by revisiting our culture, we are going to be in a serious trouble. This policy may not look like anything, and if you see government doing evil things, like you see in the policy on benefit, on healthcare, on education, policy on transportation, if any government really failing to take the British people out of poverty and accusing people of being poor, accusing people of being sick, accusing people of all sorts of nonsensicals, then you know we are on the wrong path. Such a government should not be given any mandate to run this country if you want to live If you want to die, you vote for an evil government. I'm not afraid to say this because I have mentioned this. I mean, people should be diligent. If you are a child, if you are a young person, if you are an adult, if you are an elderly person, know what the government is doing in terms of politics and policy. Know what changes is happening in society in terms of employment. Technology is changing the world we live in very quickly. People will lose their jobs more and more. People will be relying more and more on benefit. If people commit fraud or if they do one thing or another, benefit of a payment policy should be scrapped immediately, and the level of benefit should be increased immediately to get the British people out of poverty once and for all. Minimum wage, living wage nationally should be increased to £30,000 per annum. This, in my opinion, will get British people out of poverty, and I'm not even an expert, but I'm an expert in understanding by even estimating how society works in poverty. And if politicians are out of touch, then they are out of touch because the British people are not talking to them. Go to your MP's office, demand to see your MP and tell them what your situation is and how much money you think you need to live on benefit, and the policy should change in Parliament should stop partisan politics. If you are Conservative, Labour or whichever other political party, think of poverty first as a priority. You may be fighting wars in Ukraine or in the Middle East or wherever. You may be dealing with COVID-19 or Brexit. These are not important compared to getting the British people out of poverty. Getting the British people out of poverty today is number one priority for any government, whether in the UK or in another country. I will be saying this and to repeat it over and over. So going back to this material, thank you very much for your patience and also for visiting to look at this material. Thank you very much. Let us say, if the part of working person cannot get the money back in other way, they can take you to court for debt. This is wrong. So you can check what you can do if you are being taken to court for debt. This is wrong because the Parliament working person should not take anybody to court because the money itself is very low, and there are a lot of mistakes. The system is so complex. People are so confused. They don't even know. Even if they have committed fraud, they should be taken to court to deal with fraud, not to check their money. Money should not be confused. See, I mean, you cannot be a criminal because the government is giving you money. You should be a criminal because you committed a crime. And this is, criminalizing somebody who commit a benefit fraud should not be associated with taking their money. Don't take their money. Take them to court. Take them to prison. But the government cannot take anybody to court. They cannot take people to prison because they don't have the money to finance the court. They don't have the money to finance prison. So they are there to abuse the people because they are shutting down the public sector because of ideological reason. There is no reason why in the modern world the public sector should not be closed down. That's the bottom line. You can protect the economy in different ways, but it is an excuse to practice evil in society by the government to shut down the public sector. That's why the court system doesn't work, prison system doesn't work, the police system doesn't work, the military system doesn't work, the security, the intelligence, it doesn't work. Anything to do with public sector is dead because the government killed it when it refused to fund it. The purpose for it, for ideological, for political reason, which is political, is about insanity, political insanity, because there is no reason why public sector should be shut down at all. Apart from it's like politicians are on some drugs. If they are taking drugs, they are actually political psychopaths. Public sector should not be closed down anywhere in the world because it helps the poor. 90% people who work for a living are getting poorer and poorer, especially when technology comes. When technology comes, these people will not be in work. And anybody who is not in work is going to be poor, which means we are anticipating poverty without public sector because private companies do not care about anybody. They only think about money. The private sector should even be closed down. Individuals should not be allowed to own wealth in society because they are wild animals. Unless they become human, you see, the qualification of a private person owning wealth as a private individual, they should be worthy of the money because they respect people. See, they are humans. We don't see aliens, people who are monsters, people who are worthless. They are worthless in the sense that they don't have value for humanity. They only think about wealth and money. And this is the bottom line. It may sound simplistic, but it is the truth. Somebody who doesn't value humanity should not be given wealth because he is going to weaponize the wealth. And they are weaponizing is not a joke. They're going to put human life at risk. Humanity are going to go extinct because of rich people who are not humans. Because they have lost their humanity, they have become monsters who do not value themselves. They value money more than their own lives. They value money and wealth more than the life of other people. Their cultural credentials are gone down the drain. They should go back to school, and the government should set up a cultural institute to teach the super rich, multimillionaires and multimillionaires, how to be human. Because you see, if they were human, poor people would not exist because they would set a system with their power to get the British people out of power, including their government. Anybody becoming a public servant, anybody becoming a politician or even a prime minister should go to a cultural institute. Every British citizen, whether you are rich or poor, the government should design a cultural institute to teach one thing: respect for people. Respect for yourself, respect for other people. Culture is the defining a factor whether we're going to exist, whether we're going to live in peace or not. I have been saying this for a while, and I am happy I've been saying this. Leave a comment below and let me know what you think. Appreciate that you have been watching. So you will only get a deduction. Let's go back to this policy material. You are going to get a deduction if the creditor as it's part working pension. This is called a third-party deduction, and it is usually 5% of your basic standard allowance, but could be more. The part working pension will tell you if this has happened. See, people on benefit, especially when the level of benefit is low, if they borrow some money, they should not be brutalized by creditors. It doesn't matter what kind of creditor. If it is a small and medium business creditor or individual who are poor, they should be able to go to the government and get money. The government should pay the debt for poor people who borrow money. Because they borrow money because the government doesn't give them enough money to pay it back. If the government was paying £30,000 in benefit per annum, then the government would have a basis for training these people to pay their debt. They cannot, people who are on benefit, who are on minimum wage, if they borrow money, they should not, if they don't pay, they are not able to pay. If you ask anybody in debt, they say the same thing, and they are honest. British people are very honest. They say, I am not paying this debt because I don't have money. They don't have money. You see, during the austerity period, the members of parliament in Britain increased their salaries. They didn't increase the salary of nurses. They didn't increase the salary of people who are on minimum wage. They didn't increase the level of minimum wage. They didn't increase the level of benefit. This is a form of abuse because of cultural failure. Because these people are turning into wild animals. Politicians are turning into wild animals. And they are becoming very dangerous species. They have to go back to school. And they will go back to school in vain if the same government, in partnership with members of the community, design a system of cultural education, educating the British people how to respect themselves and respect others, how to respect property, the environment. It is respect today, respect tomorrow. No pretense. We need to be genuine. We need to be really genuinely respecting ourselves. We have to really acknowledge our lives. We cannot be respectful. We cannot live like monsters and expect peace, because it is stated everywhere you look that there is no peace for the wicked. And I have been saying this. And if you come to know, and let us talk about this. Just look at this material. Stay tuned. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. You will only get a deduction if the creditor asks the Department of Work and Pension. This is called a third-party deduction. This should not happen. This is policy is wrong. People of benefit should not be harassed by creditors. If you give credit to somebody who cannot pay it back, shut up. Go to the government and let the government pay you the money owed by somebody who is poor, who is on minimum wage, who is on benefits. If they borrow money, they should not pay it back unless they have the money. And creditors should not change this money from poor people, people who are on benefit, people who are on low pay, whether they are employed or self-employed. They should go to a scheme set by the government to pay for these debts. And if there is any credit economy to speak of, if not, let us shut down the credit system altogether, so that people you don't raise expectation of the British people by a credit system which is a form of a shadowy economy, shadowing financing. People think they are rich, but they are not. They are lured into an evil system of credit system, which actually carry a lot of interest. These are systems designed to enrich corrupt people who are already multimillionaires and multi-billionaires. They behave like thieves, using the credit system to persecute people. I mean, this is a typical slave-master relationship. The credit system is an evidence for that. I say this should not happen within the sector where people are so vulnerable. Vulnerability means you are not a multimillionaires, you are not a multimillionaires. You are. I mean, I can go on and on and on and talk about debt all day, because everything, almost everything you pay as of electricity is a form of debt, form of credit. You should pay for rent. In a rich world like we see in the United Kingdom, you shouldn't pay for rent. You don't pay council tax. You shouldn't pay for public transport. You should travel freely. The government should pay for it. Rich people should pay for it. Rich people should build houses for poor people. As simple as that, the government should have this policy globally. In Britain, in Europe, in America. I've said it in the other videos. Leave a comment below if you think this is correct. If you think it's correct, let us have a conversation. And there's going to be no peace for the wicked. Let us look at this policy about credit. The Department of Pension will tell you if this has happened, and they will do this either in your online journal, or if you have one, by letter. You have online. Normally, if you are claiming universal credit, you claim it online. There's an online journal. If you don't know how to use benefit to use a computer, you are in serious trouble. You might not even get paid. You might not even get to administer, because it's like you are supposed to be your own administrator, because there are no administrators at the Department of Work and Pension. They ask you to do everything. Things they should do, the government should pay a professional to do. They're not asking British people to do it because they don't have the money. They have shut down the public sector, and they're not trying to tell the truth to the British people, so that British people can prepare to run their life without the government. The government should also stop taxing the British people if they cannot provide public service. I mean, where are you putting the money? The government is saying they are investing in public service. Where is the money? The money goes to produce infrastructure and capital. Infrastructure and capital should be built alongside policy, frontline services, because there is no reason to produce public sectoral infrastructure as in capital, building public capital and wealth, if the wealth does not trickle down to people who need it, people who are poor, people who are the 90% of the population. The money filters back. Actually, wealth trickle up the economy. It doesn't trickle down. Every money paid to finance the public sector in terms of capital and infrastructure, this money are siphoned piecemeal to the super rich. We have seen with the energy company recently, where the British government during our energy crisis, which produce cost of living crisis. The government, instead of giving money to poor people, he gave money to it gave billions of pounds to multi-billion energy company who say they made so much money, they don't know what to use the money for. These people are crying out loud to the government that they are so rich, they don't know where to put the money. The British government still gives them more money in tax policy. Rishi Sunak and Jeremy Hunt did it recently in the United Kingdom. I'm not lying, this is reported on the news, and this is the fact. They are supporting energy company which have made so much money. The energy company should have actually given money to the government. The government is taking billions of taxpayers' money, giving it to the energy company. Energy company should have given billions of money, and not only energy company, all the other corporations, big corporations, which are worth in billions, sometimes trillions. In period of crisis, they should give money to the government to give to people who work for living, who are on minimum wage, who are on national living wage. These people are suffering in poverty, and we need our culture back. We need our humanity back today. We need peace, because peace is the only source of happiness. Life without happiness is a horror story. We don't need to even think of anything, because if we cannot be happy, we are a worthless species. We shouldn't even exist. Therefore, we need to visit our culture. We need to start respecting ourselves and respect others to bring peace. Because with peace, we will be happy. People are so sad. Children are so sad. People are so depressed. They are committing suicide. They are killing one another because of depression. Because they are so unhappy. They are so unhappy because we are being very violent. We are very violent as a society. We don't even know it. This is a tragedy. This is a travesty. It's travesty of our living, and we are to change the way we look at our life. Let's go back to examining this material. Leave a comment below and let me know what you think. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't subscribed. Thank you very much, everybody who have been helping in different ways. Subscribing to this material and also sharing with family and friends. Thank you so much. Continue watching, staying tuned to this material, to this channel. A deduction can only be made for rent arrears and other housing costs like service charges. Deduction can be between 10% and 20% for rent arrears. It shouldn't happen, because you see, if you're in rent arrears, you should get the money from the government or from private companies. This should be government policy. Poor people getting into debt should not pay back the debt because they don't have the money. I mean, you are trying to persecute your people. You should stop straight away. Also, you talk about gas, electric, and rent arrears and water arrears. These are actually money owed. These are debt to people who are really poor. Council tax bill. People who are poor should not pay council tax in the first place. They should rent property. The government should rent property for these people. Or if the government is cleverer, you should build houses, public houses, and give it to people who are on minimum wage or living wage. And nationally, we need to do this today, not tomorrow. See, when there is housing to speak of, this should be given to the British people who cannot afford to buy property. There is no point the government building houses and renting it out. The government continue to own the property. Don't own it. Give it away to people who are poor in this country to get them out of poverty. And then they don't pay rent. They don't pay council tax. If you increase their level of benefit, then you can charge them council tax. You can maybe charge them whatever you want to charge them. VAT on food and fuel should be removed immediately to reduce the incidence of poverty. And all the other things, food should be produced freely to people who are on minimum wage, people who are on benefits. Because food is the same with medicine. It's a shameful thing that we buy food in a rich country like Britain, and for people who cannot afford it. And the quality of food should be standardized. We should pay more attention to the quality of food. than on the quantity of food, which farmers are now doing to make money. Their motive is to maximize their better profit, and food shouldn't be a factor. If given to poor people, shouldn't be a factor for profitability. If farmers want to make money, they should speak to the British government to pay them money, and also the British government should speak to super rich to give money to the government or to the farmers to produce special food, like organic food for the super rich, which should be sold into through a different type of supermarket. And if the government is interested in improving the standard of living, then it should support farmers produce food at no extra cost, at very low cost, at affordable cost. This should be accompanied by raising the income level, whether somebody is on benefit, whether somebody is on minimum wage or living wage. Call it whatever you like. In other words, you call the money the way you want, but the level should go up sufficiently to get the British people out of poverty. This should happen in Britain and across Europe, America, and the rest of the continent. The world is enough. The wealth is enough for everyone. We need to start practicing peaceful coexistence by learning our culture. In as much as we learn to do development through technology, through engineering, through every aspect of society to create wealth and to generate power, which is the good thing, we can pretty much get even more powerful by understanding our cultural systems. Respect, and that is the language we should develop now, so that we are families, we are friends, and we are not strangers. See, how in the world can we create a society where individuals become strangers? Why? You meet people on the street, you don't even talk to them. What kind of world is that? How can we be happy? If we are not happy, what is the purpose of our life? Zero. And this is what I'm saying. So let us look at this material. Let us look at rent arrears. Let us look at other housing costs like service charges. Let us look at deductions, which can be between 10% or 20% for rent arrears. These are wrong. And let us look at gas and electric and water arrears is wrong. People should not be in debt. The government should bail them out. If it can bail big banks, if it can bail out big corporations, it can bail out individuals who fall into debt, give them money. Benefits should be given to clear debts, and debt education, money education should be provided by funding public organizations, social organizations like a charity, to teach British people how to manage debt, how to manage their money, how to be financially capable. This must happen as a matter of urgency today. They will talk about child support maintenance. This is a family law area which should be actually scrapped. If a parent are already suffering from divorce, a relationship, I mean, why should one partner be forced to pay child support? This is a fraudulent policy in the moral sense, of the immoral sense of the word. The government is practicing immorality, which is actually corruption, moral corruption. I'm not talking about the law, moral corruption by the government, where it looks at money more as being more. These people are already at risk. They are poorly, they are not happy. They are stressful. Some of them are on the verge of committing suicide. You ask them to pay child support maintenance. This is wrong. So, loan, if borrowed, should be paid by the government. Fines, if incurred, should be paid by the government. Because these people don't have money, they must have committed crimes. But people who commit crime who are poor are supposed to be forgiven. See, it should go through rehabilitation, community organizations which support them to get out of crime, because crime is a form of a cancer on society. It's evidence of cultural failure. So the government should beef up their support for communities and family to teach people how to have respect. If people are respectful culturally, they don't commit crime. So crime is a factor of rehabilitation. The government needs to spend a lot of money on producing professionals who would work with family and friends and communities to produce a cultural economy which is respectful. If you respect somebody, you don't commit crime again. You don't steal money from somebody you value. Stealing is a evidence of disrespect. I mean, murder is a form of disrespect. If you break the law, you don't respect the law, it's a form of disrespect. Cultural failure, this is educational matter. We may use the law when the situation is extreme, but exceptionally we should do to use the law, but essentially we need to use some instrument of education to get people out of criminality or committing offences which incurs fines. When the Department of Workforce will agree to a deduction, as we are looking at, and there should not be nothing like deduction. The Department of Pencil guides guide in the state they should only agree to a deduction if it is necessary to protect one of the following. If you or your partner, a child or young person, or you are responsible for a disabled person, and you are caring for the Department of Pension needs to consider your financial history and whether you are at risk of eviction or repossession, whether there are a different way to deal with the debt, for example, collecting an energy debt through a prepayment meter. All these policies should be scrapped, and it's unnecessary. If you think the Department of Work is wrong to agree to a deduction, you should help to challenge the decision. We will talk about mandatory consideration before, so you can actually do this to check the information on the government of the UK. So I'll stop here for today. Thank you for attending. I'll see you in the next one. Subscribe to this channel if you can, and if you cannot, then thank you so much for coming. I'll see you in the next one. Thank you. Bye bye. Good evening. Welcome to my YouTube.